Hello, welcome back to Shrewsbury Soccer Training. Today we're going to be focusing on a couple of different things. The first thing we're going to talk about is the 4-4-2 versus the 4-3-3. How you can understand the 4-4-2 and then reduce it to a more 4-3-3 mind focus. Then we'll be looking at a way to balance your nutrition, kind of things that you can easily put together whether you have any skill or no skill whatsoever. And then at the end we'll be looking at a couple of videos that you, the viewer, have sent to me to review. Okay, so when we're looking at the 4-4-2, of course we have 4 defensive, which is 2 fullbacks, 2 center defensive backs, and then of course 2 center mids, 2 outside mids, and the striker. Now, the good thing about this formation is that the strikers don't have to really utilize stepping to one side or the other. They can stay a little more central. So keep an idea of maybe the width of the 18, and they should be working off of each other. Now, this is one of the best ground fundamental formations that players can definitely work with. And the way this works is that basically on defense, the outside mids need to drop back to support the fullbacks, so the fullbacks can step a little more central, keep a little more compact. But to also make sure that they're out here and they're supporting their outside mid. So in case they have to double up, then of course you two can do that with a nice shift over. And that is very simple, and everything is kind of easily balanced. And that's kind of the idea of the 4-4-2, is stay balanced, whether you're shifting from one side back to the other. And that's why it's so beneficial. But when you're on the attack, one of the beneficial things about the 4-4-2 is that it creates layers up and down the field. So as the outside mid is moving down the field, I do apologize, I am getting over a cold. One of the outside backs or the fullbacks are able to move forward, because technically you only really need a solid 3 in the back at most when your team is on the attacking. So your forwards go in, they're able to stay more central, center mids are able to drop into the middle to help cover the top of the 18, outside mids are pinching the corners to really help maximize their ability to either control the field or to make sure that the ball doesn't get kicked out or sent too far. But what do the fullbacks do, and what are beneficial? Well, the fullbacks get to step up a little bit further, but they shouldn't both step, because you don't want to be numbers even or down on defense. So if the ball is coming down this way, and the coach may have a different opinion, if the ball is on this side of the field, I typically recommend my outside or my fullback on the opposite side to step forward to support and crash backdoor. So now you've got the outside mid and the fullback crashing backdoor and making sure that if the ball gets switched or sent into the box on the opposite side, you have more of a crash, to where now the center mid steps up to the outside, kind of assumes that fullback role temporarily. This center mid comes to mid, this fullback steps up. So now you've got a 3 solid back with control on the defense and with a high presence up top on offense. Now what do you do if the ball gets cleared and you have to make a fast recovery? Then of course the fullback will drop back, pinches in, now you go back to your center mids, and now you've gone back to the 4 solid back because the fullback was able to drop. Everyone shifts back over and you resume your positioning. The idea is shifting. The 4-4-2 is very strong on shifting. So if the ball is on this side, the team needs to shift, fill in the sides, and to make sure that they contain on that side. If the ball comes to the middle, they shift back, they become a little more flatter, and they're able to really control what's in front of them. And like clockwork, if they come to this side, shift, 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 shift. And now that you're having this kind of a flow, a push-pull kind of mentality. But what if we're going to be running with the 4-3-3? Now the 4-3-3 is a little bit different in how they attack and how they drop back. The 4-3-3 utilizes the fullbacks to be a little more offensively minded, where on the 4-4-2, it's more of if it's on your side and you could be beneficial, then you should step up. With the 4-3-3, the fullbacks do need to be more proactive in moving forward. So, because you'll have more of a presence in the midfield with the pinching coming down and the fullbacks both are moving forward. So here's the fullback, center back, fullback. Then you've got your 3 center mids, 1, 2, and 3. And then of course your strikers and then your wingers. I mean, some people may call them 3 strikers, but honestly, it's not 3 strikers, 2 wingers and 1 striker. You either have 2 or you have 1. If you say that you have 3 strikers, it does start to confuse things and their roles. But let's talk about on the drop, it's the same thing. Fullbacks have to drop, center mids will drop back and cover this area. The wingers can drop and cover this spot. So they can come like this. Midfields are dropping in, and now you've still got that same presence with the 4-4-2. But with the 4-3-3 on the attack, it's more of fullbacks are stepping up to add the pinch. The wingers are being supportive to help get the ball to the striker. And now the striker is really your go-to person. So it's more of a 4-3-2-1. However, it's better to think of it as the 4-3-3 leading up to the 4-3-2-1 because you don't want to confuse it too much. So whenever you're trying to really move downfield with the 4-3-3, these guys have to make sure that they're communicating. I recommend keeping a dedicated leader. So whoever's in the absolute middle decides if they're going to move up into the cam or if they're going to stay back in the CDM while these two attack. Don't let the entire presence of the field move upfield. If you allow that to happen, you can leave a huge opening here if you have too much of a presence up top. Because the simple thing with the 4-3-3 or any variation of these formations, what's going to happen is if you move everyone up top and the defense that you're playing against is able to perfectly contain, control, and really understand that you are putting a very high offensive presence, this actually creates a really big problem because now you have only these 2 people guarding potentially 2 to 3 offensive attackers. So you want to make sure that at least one of these center mids is being confident in controlling the other 2 center mids and dropping back to the CDM. If you allow him to go up the cam with both center mids moving forward, then you'll leave a huge opening here in the midfield. Sure, you're heavy on attack and have a very high potential of scoring, but you also leave a lot of opportunities for your opponent to clear the ball for a very strong midfield or center mid presence, and they could easily beat your 2 defenders. So make sure that if you're running the 4-3-3, you're controlling and communicating between the center mids, especially that one of you needs to take the role of controlling who's cam, who's CDM, and if you need both of them to step forward, or just one and staying compact so that whenever these guys come up, it's a 4 back and not a huge presence moving forward. So this is kind of how it is with the 4-3-3 and the 4-4-2 and how you can kind of manage the ideas of stepping, dropping, and controlling the space. Now let's take a look at nutrition and see a way that you, as a young soccer athlete, can kind of prepare a simple meal that will last throughout the day and will be very healthy as well as beneficial to keeping you energized throughout the day. Alright, so when I made this segment, my idea was what can I do that will be easy for any cook whatsoever. And honestly, the hardest thing on this plate to make is the hard-boiled eggs. This wrap is a very simple wrap. All it is of course a wrap of your choice, apples, flaxseed, or granola. Basically it's granola that's broken out into the small different grains, peanut butter, and honey. That's it. It's a very simple, and of course cinnamon. You can add some cinnamon to it as well. But it's a very simple wrap, easy, won't go bad. You can take it with you on trips, and it's basically a very easy thing to do. You can simply break it into these components and then put it together later. And then of course the rest of the stuff is like snacks throughout the day that you can have during games, tournaments, or before practice. All of which are very healthy, very beneficial, and will help you during your day. So carrots, cheese, a fruit, peanuts, and of course a protein. So it's very simple, very basic. Whenever I did this, of course I said my idea was to make sure that I created something that would help the player. You need stuff that's going to help you stay healthy, stay happy, stay full during the day so that you don't feel like you're running out of energy, feeling hungry during the day. And all of which are very simple to open a bag and just start eating. Whenever you're going to these tournaments, you're going to games, or if it's before soccer practice or tryout or whatever it is, you want to make sure that you prepare for the easiest possible way of getting sustenance. And you want to make sure that, of course, you have water or a Gatorade, because whenever you are trying to, of course, stay full, you need to stay hydrated. And all of which, like the apples themselves, have a small water content, so therefore it'll help you before the game or before practice, and of course it won't make you feel sick unless you're allergic. And of course with the orange as well has some kind of water base to it as well. So this is very simple, very easy, and almost anybody who has access to a stovetop and water can make with zero to no skill at all. Alright, so this video is brought into us by Kamong, and I like this first shot because your approach is beautiful. It's very well balanced, and you definitely put in a position where even a normal goalkeeper would have trouble getting it. Now the second shot, you have a bit of a curve inside. I would have preferred to see that curve more outside of the box, and then curving back in would make it a lot more difficult for the goalkeeper to get to it, and definitely put you in a better position. You've definitely got the good curve shot to your shots, but you definitely want to make sure that you're making those curves go out and come back in. If they stay more central and more in line with the goal, then the goalie is going to absolutely know that, hey, this ball is going to go into the goal. I need to line up to save it. If you make it look as if it's going out and then curving back in, you actually mislead the goalkeeper and provide a better opportunity for your ball to go in, as well as making it more difficult for the goalkeeper to adjust if he does catch on that the ball is starting to curve back in and has to readjust. So you want to make your shots that are like this a little more unpredictable or uncertain if it's going to go completely out, over, or if it's actually going to come in. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you like this new kind of setup to the videos. I definitely am hoping to start implementing a little bit more to it. So yeah, if you'd like to submit some of your videos of your shots, your game, film, or whatever, you can either send it to me here at instagram.com/shrewsburysoccer, or you can join our Discord, which will also be linked right here. And yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think of this episode. If you do enjoy seeing it broken down to these 3 segments, let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see, or if there's anything that you feel like I could do differently. Let me know in the comments below. And once again, thank you so much for joining Shrewsbury Soccer Training YouTube video, and stay safe and healthy out there, guys.